And welcome back live into the Cowboys Report. I am Tom Downey, producer Aiden, once again behind the scenes for today's show. We'll run through all the latest in. It's not Victory Monday, and it's also not Therapy Hour, and I don't know what the in-between is there because the tie happened, and I hate ties with a passion, but here we are. So grade the Cowboys against the Packers. A, B, C, D, or F, or T for tie also works because I think that's actually probably the right answer. So grade the Cowboys against the Packers. A, B, C, D, or F. 50% voting B, 20% voting A, 25% voting C, and 4% voting D or F. But there's a lot of A's for the offense, a lot of F's for the defense in there, and probably like B's or A's for the special teams, if not outright A. A couple penalties again, rearing their ugly heads. They got to get that stuff figured out there. I don't know. It should have been a win, and it also should have been a loss because if you told either team, hey, they scored 37 points in regulation, you went, we won by 10, and not, oh, we tied in overtime. It's crazy there. So get your votes in. Grade the Cowboys against the Packers. A for the offense. B minus from Gary the Raven. Roberts is A for the offense. A.K.A. Cam says D. Well, then B. So grade the Cowboys against the Packers. A, B, C, D, or F. Get those votes in at the pinned poll of today's show. This is the Super Chat menu coming up for you on today's show. Oh, Cam says D for defense. That makes sense. Yeah, they made one play, really. Everything else was kind of Packers being cowardly / running out of clock. Any Super Chat, I'll give you a shout out on today's show. $5 is a raffle entry. I have not decided yet what this week's raffle will be. I'll see there's something like Jets related somehow we can make work out there, but we'll figure it out. $10 equals 3 raffle entries. $50 is a shot, and $100 is a beer bong. So the same prices there on the Cowboys Report as do for our games. So the bosses say, don't get too drunk. Plus, I know you got home at like 2 a.m. I was up till 4 a.m. with the kid, so I've got no sleep. That's our Super Chat menu for today's show. 3:45, whatever. Will the Cowboys make a trade? We'll talk some trade rumors, ideas, reports that have, I think, some asterisks involved there. But will the Cowboys make a trade? 1 for yes, 0 for no. Jimmy, Chris forwarded my email, or your email. I'm going to respond to you after today's show. I'll get your request on what jersey and size went there. We'll get that shipped out to you. So I know I've not responded to you or Matt Temple, but I've got your guys' emails. So I will after today's live show, I will be sure to respond to you. I promise. My apologies for the delay there. So will the Cowboys make a trade for an edge, a linebacker, a safety, a corner, for an anything? We'll talk about if you want them to later on. 1 for yes, 0 for no. King Trill says 0. Gary Raven says 0. Devonta says 1. Vinny says trade for what? Hopefully defensive help would be my initial thought there. Jay says 1. Robert wants to go call Stephon Gilmore. Bunch of corners for the most part were a little bit better, but the spine of your defense was a real issue again against Green Bay. Nate, 1 but not a first. Agreed. I'm not trading the 1. Outside of a very special player becoming available, which I don't know who that is. I'm not doing it. AB Telvin say 0. So it's a trade for Granderson. So I think that's Carl Granderson. Has he done anything this year though? I don't know. Edge of greatness. Hayden's going, whatever. This year? Okay. Well. Is he benefiting from playing across from Cam Jordan, though, again? I guess is what I'm really going for. There's also some maybe off-the-field stuff that's kind of always lingered around Carl Granderson they got to be aware of. But I guess he is off to a good start sack-wise. Sanborn needs to be cut. Demario Davis. Saints are a team you can call about. We'll go into this more in depth. I do wonder if the veteran rental is what this team should be doing. But if it's day 3 picks, who cares? I don't care about trading day 3 picks, pick swaps. That's fine with me. So will the Cowboys make a trade? 1 for yes, 0 for no. We got a Monday Night Football doubleheader tonight. The first game is the Jets and the Dolphins, with the Cowboys playing the Jets next week. That's why we're only doing a 3-segment live and not the preview, because I have to wait for them to play. I can't do it today. So J for the Jets, D for the Dolphins. Who you got in this one? Then it's Bengals, Broncos, but I feel like most people are going to take the Broncos, and we'll talk about that game later on too a little bit. So who you got tonight on Monday Night Football, J or D? Get those comments in. Chris Games, a $2 super chat, says, F the Niners. The Niners are once again hurt. You guys see that today? Brock Purdy's hurt again. Ricky Pearsall's hurt again. My theory that they have been doing blood ritual sacrifices to keep Christian McCaffrey healthy, I think it's never been more accurate. They are just decimated by injuries right now. That's the case. They're. I don't feel bad for them though, because I don't like them. Who you got, J or D? Lots of Jets votes coming in. Bernard, Robert Thomas, a.k.a. Cam, Jay, Jalen Royal, Gary Raven, Cowboy Rob. If the Dolphins win, it might just have been a Mike McDaniel issue. Well, it's the Jets. These are both loser of this game. If the Dolphins lose this game, man, they might be axing the head coach in the not-too-distant future. So, other schedule news, by the way, I don't know how much it matters. Patriots Saints has been flexed into the 1 p.m. slot for Week 6. Niners Bucks into the 4:25 slot. So a rare early season flex for Week 5. That's the CBS games there. All right. Goal is always a 50% like ratio. So if you think ties are un-American, show it by liking today's video. Free, simple, easy to do. I hate the fact that they tied because I can't stand them. So if you think ties are profoundly un-American, like the video if you haven't already done so. Now, coming up on today's live edition of the Cowboys Report, we'll talk some Cowboys news, injury updates, some interesting other developments I noticed from the Cowboys game I wanted to mention. Cowboys Report mailbag, 2 ways to get in on the show. You can use hashtag Cowboys or skip the line altogether via Super Chat. I want to hit Nate Snyder's Super Chat here real quick, and we'll also include that one on the mailbag because I think it's a pretty good question to have. So, mailbag coming up here today, and some trade rumors, ideas, theories we'll get to that I've seen out there that at least are worth having conversations about, some more so than others. So all that coming up live here on the Cowboys Report. First, Nate Snyder, if we move off of Steele/Diggs, how much cap do we have? So I assume we're moving off of them next offseason. That's how I'm going to approach this question because I think it's the actual outcome here. Numbers don't trade or don't change with a trade or release. It's the same figure. Before June 1st, Diggs release or trade saves an additional $12.6 million. Now, they could make that a post-June 1st trade, make it 15.5, or post-June release, I should say, 15.5, but I don't think that really benefits you when you can't access it until after the draft, so I don't think they do the post-June 1st on Diggs. So 12 and change on the Diggs side. On the Terrence Steele side, of note, Cowboys did not restructure either player. I think it's a pretty clear sign that they are open to moving on from either player or maybe both players after this year ends. Terrence Steele-wise, 8.75 before June 1st. After June 1st, it's 14. So I wouldn't be surprised if they did cut him. It's a post-June 1st move. And if you wanted to keep them, a restructure saves a pretty similar amount of money. But as of right now, I would lean towards those guys not being kept by the Dallas Cowboys. So good questions there, Nate. It's a lot of money you'd free up. You already have a lot of it, and you restructure Dak and Lamb and Osa, and you're going to be in that $100 million figure again. Like that's where you should be able to play around. JL Channel is in a $5 super chat into our to-be-determined raffle this upcoming week, by the way. So I got you covered there, Jay. Thank you. I got the Cowboys an A-. What do you think about the Cowboys signing Shedeur Sanders? Is he available? Is Dak an MVP candidate right now? Shedeur remains under contract with the Browns, so that one's not going to happen. Dak's individual level of play has been worthy of it. But the MVP is a wins award. Like, you can be the best player in football and not play quarterback and you don't win. You can be the best quarterback in football, and if you win 8 games, 9 games, you're just not going to win MVP. That might be the path that the Cowboys are trending towards. So if they can make the playoffs, we can have that conversation. But I think the defense is, like, individual play-wise has been awesome, but like, likelihood seems pretty low. So appreciate that, Jay. Let's dive into today's live Cowboys Report. Coming up on today's show, we will have some offensive tackle talk after kind of unique rotation situation. Game script for the tackles, injury news, Malik Hooker, Miles Sanders, Tyler Guyton, and whether or not Trevon Diggs actually got benched by the Cowboys. We'll go into all that here on today's show. Before we get into it, don't think there will be a push notification on today's video because too much content. Last 24 hours have had 2 live shows, and this will be the 3rd video, so you don't get that many pushes in a day on YouTube. So help us out by sharing today's video on social media, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, whatever it is, we got you covered. Let's talk offensive line here. The offensive line usage was, I would argue, pretty unique for the way the Cowboys normally operate here. This was against the Packers. So to recap what happened, to the surprise of nobody, Tyler Guyton, Terrence Steele were the starters at offensive tackle. For one drive, I think it was the 3rd drive of the game, Nathan Thomas came in and replaced Terrence Steele. Thomas then immediately picked up a penalty for illegal formation, for lining up too far in the backfield, negated a 3rd down play, did not come back in the game until Tyler Guyton left the game with a concussion. And then Nathan Thomas came in and I thought played relatively well. The Cowboys' offensive line at tackle, I thought Brock Hoffman didn't have the greatest game, but he's been survivable. The Cowboys' offensive line, each time I watch live, I go, okay, they're doing fine. They're doing pretty good. And then I go back and watch and go, man, it's a lot closer to like bad stuff than I actually realize it is. Terrence Steele, I thought, did a good job as a run blocker. Again, these are all the PFF numbers, so asterisk them as you need to. 1 hit, 2 hurries, no flags. Same numbers for Guyton on fewer snaps is certainly worth mentioning. The run block rate was 53.5, not as good. No huge surprise there. The issue with Guyton is when he loses, it's really obvious that he lost. Like, he loses quickly, and that's a bad thing for an offensive tackle. They're doing enough to get by right now. I think Guyton overall has been better than what he was last year, but he's got to cut down on just the mistakes that keep happening. Nathan Thomas, I thought played pretty well. Now, the run blocking sample size was like 5 snaps. One of which was a draw, so like, who cares? But I thought he did a good job subbing in. Like, he came in the game and he wasn't that noticeable. So I liked what I saw from Nathan Thomas. Now you have to figure out, who do you not play? And where does Nathan Thomas land? This might be decided for you this week with Guyton in concussion protocol, but questions remain. Of these 3 offensive tackles, who do you want to bench? TG for Tyler Guyton, NT for Nathan Thomas, TS for Terrence Steele. Let me know at the pinned comment of today's show. I think in general, the play of the offensive tackles looks better live because of the play of Dak Prescott. I'll go why I mean that in a little bit here. And I think it looks a little bit better once we contextualize why, you know what, they've actually been a little bit helpful for you. Like with what they are asked to do. So the island rates is from our guy Brian Broaddus. Like, when they are left on an island, no help, the Cowboys are kind of just leaving their tackles on an island, which I was surprised by against Green Bay. But to get through that game and allow the 1 sack, which I still don't know if that was a sack at all. I don't think it was, really. I felt like that was a no gain, but whatever, who cares? Guyton lived on island 87% of the time, Thomas 82%, Steele 75%. Sure, Micah Parsons got a bunch of pressures, but who cares? Like, it doesn't really matter all that much. Dak Prescott was nails under pressure against the Packers. These are also per PFF. I think NFL Pro had like 9 pressure attempts. So again, differing numbers there. 12 out of 14, 162 yards, 11.6 yards per attempt, 1 touchdown, 0 interceptions. When all of that stuff, like the ball's getting out quickly enough, he's really impressive under pressure. Like the Tolbert play was under pressure. The big Pickens throw was under pressure. I think the play of the quarterback helps the offensive line out, but I do think they're doing just enough to get by. I do think at times there's some holding penalties on Tyler Guyton not getting called, but hey, if they're not getting called, I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth. But I think good enough for now, given the tough slate they've faced of edge rushers so far. Hopefully we'll continue to get better as the year goes along. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. You can go more than on Josh Allen passing yards, rush yards, and touchdowns. Pick them all in the same lineup, only on Prize Picks. You can also follow other players directly on the app and copy their lineups with one click. Whether it's a friend, a celebrity partner, or someone whose picks you like, hit the follow button and check out every lineup in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. This is my Monday Night Football Prize Picks lineup for you. I like the idea of Justin Fields having some success against a shaky Dolphins passing defense. I'm going to go less than Bo Nix, 11.5 yards on the ground, and I'll take Breece Hall, more than a half touchdown. So go download that Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Links in the comments and the description of today's show. Let's go to Trevon Diggs and this cornerback rotation the Cowboys deployed. He did not start against the Packers, and there were reports of him still kind of being a little bit banged up, but also not banged up. But yeah, it was. Here's what Brian Schottenheimer had to say on not starting Diggs. We're talented. Are you, though? He's been banged up a little bit. I've been a little tough on Trevon just in terms of the consistency and things like that. But man, I thought he played really well. I'm proud of him. It's a similar type thing with other guys. I mean, it wasn't just us picking on Trevon. Trevon's a hell of a player. He's a huge part of what we are trying to do. So to break down then the cornerback room, which it was a committee essentially. Kyer Elam played the most snaps, but not by a lot. Reddy Stewart, 55. Diggs and Bland, 53. They kind of tried to keep Bland a little bit on a pitch count. I found the whole thing interesting because, well, I don't often agree with Jerry Jones, but I kind of do here. He's asked about, did they sit Diggs to move other guys around? He says there's no moving on to other guys. So it had to be reps regarding health or that type of thing. I am pleased with how Diggs played. Again, they're kind of towing this line of was he banged up? Was he not banged up? Diggs said he was a little bit surprised by it. I actually do mostly agree with Jerry Jones on this one. After 2 really bad showings, part of the whole secondary being bad, but 2 bad showings against the Giants and the Bears, I do think Trevon Diggs fared much better against the Packers. So individual grade here. Grade Diggs against the Packers. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. A, B, C, D, or F. You've got 2 types of games that the Cowboys have had with Trevon Diggs so far this year. The first and fourth game where they don't even look his way. Targeted 1 time against the Packers. It was for a loss of 3, which I don't actually know if it was exactly, but that was the bubble screen play in overtime. And Diggs blows it up to perfection. He actually had several stops on plays. He actually, I thought, was a bit more physical than what he normally is, had the interception called back, did have a penalty, but especially relative to how he played the last 2 games, this was much better. Not perfect, but much better. He wasn't the one getting beat so much in coverage. These are, again, per PFF, so asterisk them. the coverage yards, and the completion rate allowed in week 4. Reddy Stewart, 75 yards. Remember, the Packers feasted on check down stuff too. That was a huge issue. DaRon Bland, 71. Your linebackers had a real rough showing. Jack Sanborn, 58. Kenneth Murray, 47. Shamar James, 41. Elam only got dinged for 25. The safeties apparently weren't getting blamed, which I found kind of interesting on the PFF side. But again, a lot of it was after catch stuff, which we will get into here in a minute. You can only play 3 corners at a time. So right now, who should be CB4? KE for Kaiir Elam, TD for Trevon Diggs, DB for DaRon Bland, RS for Reddy Stewart. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. I think the biggest issue you face right now, at least what you faced against Green Bay, because there were different moments. I still don't know who to actually blame on the deep shot, the opening play of the game, but I think it was probably a Bland issue. I'm not sure. The Cowboys allowed 256 yards after the catch, and they had 16 missed tackles. That's so many. That was run and pass, but still, that's horrible. To put that in perspective, Reddy Stewart allowed 75 yards in coverage. 89 of them were after the catch because there were swing passes and stuff like behind the line of scrimmage and all that, but he got blamed for missing some tackles. Maurice Leofau, more yards after the catch than just actual yards. Jack Sanborn, 58 yards, 50 after the catch. You got to be able to make plays. And I think your linebackers in particular had a really rough showing against Green Bay. We will have a full video on the linebackers and how I am unhappy. And I am very much on board trying to find some replacements if you can find replacements at linebacker. So make sure you guys are subscribed, youtube.com/CowboysTV. Rapid fire injury updates here. As of filming, haven't heard that much new stuff, but Malik Hooker out with the toe injury. It was a non-contact toe injury. I would not be surprised if Hooker is unavailable for at least a game or 2. Means Wanye Thomas will be the next man up at safety. I mentioned more linebacker options. Maybe just try Marquise Bell there. Just a thought. Miles Sanders left with an ankle injury. We'll see about his status. Maybe next week is the Jaden Blue week. Maybe next week Jaden Blue gets involved on offense and we see what he's able to do with an explosive big-time play. So we'll see about Blue and Wanye, but I think they are in line to get some more playing time soon for the Cowboys. Time for a Cowboys Report mailbag. 2 ways to get in on the show. Use hashtag Cowboys. Skip the line altogether via Super Chat. I do want to get to Jimmy Jackson Thomas and Matt Temple's 2 $5 Super Chats before the mailbag. I want to do that outside of it because it's not really relevant at all to the mailbag itself. So we'll get to those here in just a second. A reminder of today's Super Chat menu. $5, you're into our raffle entry. Haven't decided yet what it's going to be. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 for a shot. $100 for the beer bong. Appreciate all the super chats that have come in. Matt Temple, I did get your info. It's sitting in my inbox. I'm going to respond to you after today's live show. My apologies for the delay in response there. Same for you, Jimmy Jackson. I'm going to take care of you on the MVP jersey. Chris forwarded the email, so I will get get response to you here after today's live show. Both of you guys are entered into the raffle. Again, my apologies for not responding earlier today. It was just kind of a long night and a whirlwind day for me. So appreciate that, Jimmy and Matt. Got you guys covered, plus got your entries in for the Week 5 giveaway. In the meantime, let's dive into our mailbag. We got a $5 super thanks coming in from Austin Carey. There aren't really any options outside of the org for an in-season defensive coordinator replacement. What about within the organization? For an interim replacement short-term, let Shoddy actually be a head coach and find his own DC. I'd hope firing someone might light a spark. Something has changed. It can't get any worse. I get where you're coming from on the can't get any worse side. I'm kind of there too. The issue you run into is I have no idea who the hell calls your plays. Like, the higher-ranking guys are your secondary guys, and they've been bad. Andre Curtis hasn't done a good job because the secondary has not been good. Like, everyone on this coaching staff is either, like, not really experienced enough to do it, and J.J. Clark, I think, was the UTEP DC or something. That's not who I want to call my plays. Or they're an Eberflus guy. And, does that mean it's going to work? So, that's my concern and why I think the Cowboys are going to be willing to give Flus some more time to figure this one out. Now, if you want into our weekly raffles, we'll have one for Cowboys Jets. Send in a $5 super thanks. Don't know yet what we're going to give away this week, but we'll have something fun, something signed for you. Send in that $5 super thanks now. C.J. DeYoung III. Of course he's hinting about trades, because the only other thing to talk about is how bad this team is and how impotent this front office has been. I think he meant incompetent, but impotent is also kind of funny. Thanks. Look, I am frustrated by some of the self-inflicted wounds you've set yourself up for on defense. You kind of made this bed to an extent. From C.J. DeYoung III. A tie? Glad I went to sleep. How un-American. Thank you. I hate ties. I don't think that they should be allowed. They shouldn't be allowed. Keep playing football until somebody wins. From Rich. No more keep your powder dry talk. Dak playing at MVP level. Everyone keeps saying we aren't close to being contender. We played Super Bowl favorites. It sure looked close to me. I get where you are coming from. If you can get the right trade partner, I am absolutely down. We're going to keep talking about ideas. I'm down to trade my day 3 picks because who cares? They're day 3 picks. I don't want to overpay significantly, have it not be enough, and now I'm in a worse spot long term. I do want to I want to be a little bit practical with my choices too. From Frank Brosart. What are your thoughts about bringing in Eric Kendricks and benching Sanders for Jaden Blue? Well, the Sanders injury, which I think this came in before the Blue injury, I'm pretty sure, the super thanks-wise, that might allow you to have Jaden Blue here organically and playing. I'm not opposed to Kendricks. Again, it is late September / early October, and he's unsigned. That kind of concerns me a little bit. But I thought he was fine last year. Is he in shape? If that's the case, why not bring him in for a workout at minimum? When it comes to making moves and trades and wheeling and dealing, should the Cowboys be buyers? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Y for yes, N for no. I thought it was Angel Onel. Says, thanks. Need to package a deal for 1 or 2 of our edge rushers and a first for Max Crosby and only a guy like him. The man's motor is nonstop and has infectious leadership. So first off, you have the player nailed. I love Max Crosby. That is one of my favorite players in football. He is an Iron Man. He is great against the run. He is great against the pass. There's so much love correctly given to Micah and Myles Garrett and TJ Watt. I think Max Crosby is in that tier. That dude is a superstar player. I love him. He's awesome. I love him on this team. That is why the Raiders won't trade him. He's too good. And he is a Raider at his core. Unless he's demanding his way out when he just got paid, which seems impossible. I don't think it's a likely outcome as smart of a, call it a Madden trade idea as it would be. So name a player who you want to trade for. Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Name a player who you would like to see the Cowboys go get. Abshir Pawar is back. Happy to have you here, my friend. I feel like it's been a little bit. He says, I think our biggest pain point on offense is the O-line. You notice how many times Dak was hurried and pressured? That's why he's checking down. I would mostly agree. You're also averaging the most offensive yards in football, so it's a little bit of a champagne problem for me. We wouldn't be worried about the offensive line. Maybe we'd be more worried about it if the defense wasn't terrible. But my concerns are more on the defensive side for now. But I do think they could be a little bit better. You were down 3 starters, though, last night. I remember the Jason Garrett days of you'd be down 3 starters and you lose by 20. From John, still can't get over the base zone on 4th and 6 without even showing blitz, if not blitzing. The Cowboys are kind of in a damned if they do, damned if they don't. They don't get home on blitzes. They're not effective. Which is, again, probably a schematic thing. But, I don't know. Why can't I do some more 5-man front stuff? Why can't I try to see if I can get one man-to-man matchup up front? Nothing is working, but I don't feel like they're trying that much. You go so in-depth, hey, we're going to, make things simpler. And then they don't make things simple. It doesn't work. They get beat for a huge play on the opening drive. It's frustrating to no end. Today's show is made possible by Omaha Steaks. You guys get an extra $35 off their ongoing 50% site-wide sale at omahasteaks.com by using promo code COWBOYS at checkout. Omaha Steaks offers unrivaled quality and variety every bite, backed by their 100% guarantee. It's not just steaks, by the way, that they offer. Although the steaks are fantastic, medium rare is the way to go. Let's be clear here. They offer burgers, cozy and convenient comfort meals, tailgating favorites like chicken wings, smash burgers, big deli-style franks, pork chops, and more. The $35 off brings their classic favorites assortment of 4 steaks, 4 pork chops, 4 burgers, 4 franks, and fries, and caramel apple tartlets too, to under $100 for all of that. It is a fantastic deal. So get fired up for fall grilling with Omaha Steaks. Visit omahasteaks.com for 50% off site-wide during their Red Hot Sale event. And for an extra $35 off, use promo code COWBOYS at checkout. That's 50% off at omahasteaks.com and an extra $35 off with promo code COWBOYS at checkout. See site for details. Chris Ortega, can we move Ezraku to linebacker? Looks like a lot better fit and better than what we got. My issue is, I don't know if he actually helps you in coverage. And like that was a big issue against Green Bay, where Ezraku was I thought did some good stuff against the run. Why not do like some 5-man fronts though with him? And like, especially on passing downs, why not have a third edge rusher out there still? Do 5 down linemen and bring 5. Well, you haven't really tried that. You can do that on base downs too. I don't think he's an actual off-ball linebacker, but you can still do like 3-4 outside linebacker stuff with him. Why not? $10 from Chris. Do you remember if it's Haas or Hayes? I always forget how to pronounce that one. So Chris H. I'm terribly sorry there. Says, random factoid that I researched today. The Cowboys have not spent a single first or second round pick on a safety in the last 23 years since 2022 with Roy Williams. They just don't value this position. They've never valued the spot. How many years have I been complaining about safety talk? I watched the safeties last in our draft content because I don't want to get my hopes up. I was banging down the door. How many guys we've been banging on the doors for? Taylor Rapp, Juan Thornhill, Derwin James, if you want to go way, way back, though they thought he was a corner, which, whatever. Like, sorry, they thought he was a safety. Or was it a corner? Either way, they thought that Ezekiel Elliott was going to be better for the defense than Derwin James. It's stupid. Like, I agree. Go get safety help. I think that has to be a priority this upcoming offseason because Hooker and Wilson, I think they're gone. Also from Chris, linebacker. How about Mozzie Smith, Luke Schoonmaker, and a 6th-round pick for Terrell Bernard from Buffalo, and then Jalen Tolbert, a 3rd this year and a 2nd next year for Jalen Petrie. So Petrie has mostly been kind of like a nickel safety hybrid. I will say, I think that is a pretty big overpay for Jalen Petrie. I don't think he's worth a 3 and a 2 and a, for now, starting safety. I think he would probably help you out at nickel. He's been a little bit more streaky than I think Houston, maybe even some Houston fans would necessarily like to admit. Terrell Bernard is the leading snap getter at linebacker for Buffalo. I don't think they're going to trade him, especially not for the trash we don't want in Mozzie Smith and Luke Schoonmaker and a 6th-round pick. Like, I think that's probably not nearly enough for a Bills team that is a contender, very clearly. Brett Stevens, Tom, how would you fix the defense? I would, honestly, I would totally reevaluate how I approach my defensive strategy. Matt Eberflus is a bend but don't break guy. Well, I keep breaking. So if that's going to be the case, I need to generate explosives. I'm giving up too many as it is. So I'm going to blitz more. I'm going to try more man coverage. If I get beat immediately for a long touchdown, okay. If I can force a turnover or 2, though, get a stop, get a sack, generate some big plays on defense. You've got what? You had 1 big play against the Packers. That was it. You're getting 1 or 2 per game. That's not enough if I'm giving up 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So I would totally flip from this like bend but don't break defense to I'm going to sell out to make some plays. And I might give up, 3 touchdowns, but if I can force a singular punt on 4th down, like that's probably a good thing. I would try other players as well. And if I can find the right value in the trade market, I am open to that as well. From Wayne, the other son of Steve Kerr, is Week 5 now a must-win? I would have said it was a must-win had they lost to the Packers, but they tied. So it kind of is, but isn't. I believe that you get to play the must-win card one time. Now, if you win, you get it back. That's fair. If you lose, it's over. So I'm not going to play that card yet, but check it again in Week 6. It might be worth playing. You have to, I think, I said you had to go 2-1 over those 3 games. Well, I guess you got to go 1.5-1. I don't know. Ties. Predict the Cowboys' record this season. We have to put ties in it now. You know how stupid that is? Get your record predictions for me in the comment section of today's show. William Cook. This is how the NFL could end ties. Once the overtime quarter ends in a tie, there should be a field goal kickoff starting with 50 yards and then an increase at 5-yard increments. So it's kind of like it's like PKs, right? I mean, honestly, I am fine with, hey, if it's still going or there's just no timed clock, after both teams get the ball, next score wins. It will end eventually. Not that hard. That game would have gone on another 10 minutes max because neither team could stop them. Like, I'm fine with that. That one gets a little bit gimmicky for me, but helps the Cowboys because Auburn's going to win every one. So, all right, Ellis, $5 super chat. Ellis Gruzinko. If the D gives up 30-plus points to the Jets and Panthers, do you consider firing Eberflus midseason, even with the lack of an internal candidate? Yeah, I do. If you can't stop the Jets and Carolina, you're not going to stop anybody. Like, schedule gets harder. Like, these, you should be able to do better. But if you don't, I think you have to. You kind of have to at that point. William Cook, $5. I think the secondary got better once Wanye Thomas played. No more long chunk passing plays. Of note, the Packers were like a little bit scared at times of like they did a lot of short stuff, which I didn't really anticipate seeing. So I don't disagree at all. I liked what I saw from Wanye Thomas. It wasn't a big safety play game in general, but they didn't get beat as deep. That's a good thing for where we're at. For more Dallas Cowboys videos, hit that sub button, youtube.com/Cowboys TV. Free videos all season long. Jimmy Jackson Thomas, Ferguson has to get to line of gain on third down routes and break that first contact. He ain't no Witten, but come on. I agree. That's been the one thing that's really holding back Jake Ferguson this year. Last 2 years, I think he was either led the NFL, tied for it, regular season-wise, with forced missed tackles. It was him and Tucker Kraft. This year, he has not been doing it at nearly the same pace. His numbers have plummeted. He made the good end zone catch. That was good for him to hold on to it. But you're absolutely right. If you're going to run a route short of the sticks on third down, you have to make that first guy miss. And that has not been the case so far, really at all, out of Jake Ferguson. They did credit him with 3 forced missed tackles. He was better after that early third down play, but I think more is still needed. YouTube J, trade a first for Fred Warner. Niners need to sell. The Niners aren't selling, though. They are invested too much. Like, the Niners are not going to be as banged up as they are. They lead the division going into Thursday Night Football. So this might go out afterwards, so asterisk it. But I know they're banged up, but they're above 500. They lead the NFC West as of filming for our live show. They have the tiebreaker advantage there. I don't think that they're going to be sellers, as much as I do love Fred Warner, who they also just paid, so don't get your hopes up. I love Fred Warner, though. Be so much fun to have. All right, any super chat is a shout-out. $5, you're into our raffle entry. $10 gets you 3 raffle entries. $50 for a shot. $100 for a beer bong. We got a doubleheader of Monday Night Football action. Who you got? C for the Cincinnati Bengals and D for the Denver Broncos. Because I couldn't do B and B because that would have been really weird. So who you got? C or D? As I sip my Powerade. They can't tell my voice is kind of scratchy. Just a little bit. C or D? Mr. says neither. Not a tie. please not another tie. I really don't like ties. I honestly thought they were going to tie against the Giants, and they tied against the Packers. It was even worse. So, C or D? Let me know in the comment section of today's show. Seen some sign George Pickens. We did hit that on today's show. I don't think that's a Cowboys issue. I think Pickens wants to wait. And if I were Pickens' agent, I'd say, no, just wait. Unless the Cowboys start offering you like $28 million, I don't think Pickens should sign it. He's better off trying to maximize his money in free agency. So, or at least getting tagged, or at least having more of an option. Like I don't think that it's a Cowboys issue. So I'm not gonna be mad at them. Like handling of other contracts, yes. The Pickens contract, I have no complaints on this. Daniel says I take D because I want the Bengals to be sellers and give us Trey Hendrickson. You know, Zach Taylor's got, I think, 2 years left on his deal. I wonder if he's going to want to sell. I'm very curious how it all plays out for Cincinnati. So get your votes in C or D, and we'll get to the final segment on today's show. We'll talk some trades for you on today's video. Will the Cowboys make a trade? 1 for yes, 0 for no, about a month to go until the NFL trade deadline. Get those predictions in, 1 or 0. I want to begin with the Jeffery Simmons stuff. This has been a popular talking point for a bunch of different Cowboys content creators out there. Those rumors are back. They were kind of here around the NFL draft as well. Should the Cowboys have interest? We'll discuss. I think that the real driver of the latest rumors was from Tommy R. Callahan. I'm not familiar with his work, but this got a lot of buzz on social media. It says, per source, the Titans could trade Jeffery Simmons in 2025, taking a $31.9 million cap hit in 2025 by accelerating $14.4 in bonus money to clear the books in 26-27. Expect something like a second and third round pick in return based on the 2 firsts for Parsons. There are red flags on this report. And in general, those pop up from like, I'll go, hey, do you have good sourcing, or are you just making stuff up when you do per source and mention the money involved and the money's wrong? The money is not correct in that tweet. That is not what the Tennessee Titans would actually owe. It's simply inaccurate. And I'll break down what this actually sorts out to here. But the Jeffery Simmons contract right now is $22.77 million on the Titans cap. Now, they would actually save $17.97 if they traded him. Now, of note, that is based on the prorated figure, so it'd actually be about $4 million less in savings because they've already paid him for 4 games played. But that's just not accurate. That $31 million dead money, that's if they cut him. The trade dead money is really about $15 million. It's not actually that number. It's about half of what had been reported. So I don't always trust these things. The new team would owe the base salary and some per-game roster bonus stuff. It's about the $17.97. Again, you only pay him for the games left. So, let's just call it, 13, 12, whatever it is by the time they trade him. The cap hit if the Cowboys or a different team were to trade for Simmons is $20.67 million next year and $23.5 million in 2027, but none of that money is guaranteed. The cool part about Jeffery Simmons is he's kind of back to his old form a little bit. He's been really good this year. 5 TFLs, 2 sacks, stuck on a really bad Titans team that certainly feels like they are on the verge of blowing it up and having some rebuilding and some coaching staff replacements. He looks a little bit more like the 2022, 2023 guy from a sack production perspective. The run-stopping guy has always been pretty good. He was off to a great start in 23 before he got hurt. So there's a lot to like about Jeffery Simmons. The money and other stuff are a factor here. So I've got more thoughts to come. Would you trade for Jeffery Simmons if you were the Cowboys? Y for yes, N for no. Let me know at the pinned comment of today's show. I do think Jeffery Simmons as a general NFL trade candidate is pretty reasonable. despite the report having the wrong money involved. The Titans are bad, and they don't show any signs of getting better. However, specifically for the Cowboys, I don't think adding a third expensive interior defensive tackle is actually good roster management. I like the player a lot. This does not have anything to do with Jeffery Simmons, but the fit isn't right now. I don't want to trade assets and spend a bunch of my cap for a guy that's going to play 40% of the snaps, or then I'm not getting good investment out of Kenny Clark or Osa Odigizua. If I want to trade, I want to help other spots of need. This would have been a very different convo if they didn't have Kenny Clark or they didn't pay Osa Odigizua. I don't think the defensive tackle room is where the Cowboys need to be investing right now. Because you're already wanting to play Osa and Kenny Clark a decent amount. So I don't see how adding Jeffery Simmons and in some way putting a limit on how much you can actually play all of those three guys when I'm not getting any real pressure from my edge rusher group is a good idea. If you can get an edge of Simmons' caliber, different conversation. But Simmons himself, I'm just not as intrigued. Today's show is made possible by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every single day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this football season on Prize Picks, where it is good to be right. You can follow other Prize Pick players directly on the app and copy their lineups in one simple click. Whether it's a friend, celebrity partner, or someone whose picks you like, hit that follow button and check out every lineup they create in the new feed tab on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, so you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. So if you want to go with Josh Allen passing yards, rush yards, touchdowns, more than on all 3, that's fine. You can pick them all in the same lineup, only on Prize Picks. Not just football. Baseball Prize Picks lineups are available as we get into October, and more people in general start to care a little bit more about baseball. My guy Jack Lauderay is on this one for the Yankees-Red Sox matchup. Go download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Links in the comment section and the description of today's show. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. Ian Rappaport, Sunday morning, offering some very intriguing trade possibilities there. Says, with Devin Witherspoon returning on Thursday, teams are monitoring Pro Bowl cornerback Riq Woolen as a possible trade target by the deadline. Sources tell the insiders Woolen's playing time has diminished, and in a contract year, teams believe he could be available. And I do wonder if Seattle was the group who leaked this one to Ian Rappaport. And I do think a trade is extremely possible here. Woolen has kind of lost some playing time. I talked to our Seahawks guy, Will Ortner, and Josh Jobe is impressed. And Darion Kendrick has somehow fit the Seahawks secondary in a way that I don't think many people really expected. He hasn't been as good this year. The 2020 rookie revelation with 6 interceptions hasn't quite been the same. And this one does intrigue me, actually, kind of a good amount. I think he's a real chance he's available, and that always makes me intrigued here. There are some pros and cons I want to get into, though, on Riq Woolen's side. So, would you trade for him? T for trade, P for pass. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Would you trade for Riq Woolen? Some pros for the Cowboys pursuing a trade for Riq Woolen. A, corner's a need. You haven't gotten good cornerback play consistently, period. Given what you have, he's probably an upgrade. I don't think there's going to be too much pushback on that. I also know this is the Cowboys type at corner. They love long-armed guys. Riq Woolen is 6'4", 205, ran a 4.26, and has 33-plus inch arms. I was kind of shocked the Cowboys didn't take him. Is that, maybe there was some medical stuff? I don't know. That is right up the Cowboys' alley. The downside, you are buying low, and maybe there's some concern you're buying too low. But maybe more importantly, if you believe in him, then what's the 2026 fit? You've just paid DaRon Bland. Are you going to pay another corner big-time money? I'm not so sure Dallas would. And if he's just a rental, well, is this team in the position to be doing rentals for anything outside of a day 3 draft pick, a mid to late day 3 pick? And shouldn't he cost more than that in theory? Also, is he a scheme fit? I think Woolen's a lot better in man coverage, where he can use his length and athletic ability. There's some cover 3 stuff too, but it hasn't been the greatest in zone necessarily, and your DC wants to run zone. So you better make sure you're on the same page, because that hasn't been the case for a lot of the Cowboys' moves in terms of the defense with the fit from the front office and the coaching staff. We got more Cowboys videos for you each and every single day right here on the channel. Make sure you guys are subscribed and do not miss out on anything. Pro Football Network listed Cam Jordan as a potential trade fit for the Dallas Cowboys. And this is another one that I think is at least worth having a conversation on, some pros and cons on that front. They mentioned 3 teams. The Niners, who are going to every single edge because they're actually 3-1 and they're contenders trying to win games and they need an edge pretty badly. The Cowboys and the Colts, not sure Indy's going to be a buyer, but whatever. The contract, unlike some other players, is super cheap for the Cowboys. He's on the vet minimum base salary-wise. That's the Saints don't say very much with a trade, but they're bad, so they might just take whatever they can get and let Cam Jordan go, ring chase. Not sure ring chasing is the spot to come for Dallas. That's probably an issue, but he's cheap. The issue is he's not the same guy he was in his prime. I'm not saying he's bad, but if you get 2024, 2023 production, we're probably still complaining about the same lack of sacks. Like, big household name. He's likely a rental. He's cheap if the Saints will deal him for a day 3 pick or something. And this a little bit, though, kind of feels like we're talking more about the name and not the peak version of the player. But you're desperate at edge, so we can have conversations on all of them. So name a player who you want to trade for. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. We've gone all defense. We got to one offensive name, but let me know in the comments section of today's show. Bleacher Report said the Cowboys should consider trading for Xavier Legette, and their projected trade value for him was a conditional 2023 pick. Now, they mentioned the Browns too. The Cowboys don't have a 3rd round pick. So, you can get to a 4th and others, but, whatever. I don't understand this at all. I don't get it. Why would you go trade for a wide receiver? And this was done before the Week 4 game, whatever. But come on. Lamb is going to miss a couple games at most. Pickens, you already traded for. You're going to get Jonathan Mingo back. Legette hasn't been good. I liked him more than Mingo coming out, but he hasn't been good yet. 505 yards in 18 career games, 4 touchdowns, 8 drops. You get more drops than touchdowns? Red flag alert. Shoot! I kind of liked what I saw from Ryan Flanoy last night. Sunday night. Tolbert did something big in a big moment again. Turpin's more fun. I don't understand the go trade for a wide receiver. Lamb's gonna be back soon. I don't think it's a rational trade idea at all for the Cowboys outside of Jerry Jones going, ooh, shiny wide receiver. No, stop it. So grade the Cowboys against the Packers for me. A, B, C, D, or F. 50% voting B. A, 24%. C, 21%. D or F is 5%. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. William Cook, a $5 super chat. I could see the Cowboys using one of their 1st round picks on a right tackle. I wouldn't be shocked. I'd be a little bit annoyed because it's another 1st round pick on the offensive line. But I want to take the good players. There might be a good player that's a right tackle for you. So, Ecuador man AOG, why give up assets for a lost season? Team stinks. I think day 3 picks are very low assets, so I'm not too concerned about it. If I can get a long-term asset, though, that also intrigues me. So it's a bit more balanced. So grade the Cowboys against the Packers. A, B, C, D, or F. Let me know in the comments section of today's show. Make sure you guys are subscribed as well. Next live show on Thursday. Then we get kind of a quick turnaround. The Cowboys will play the Jets at 1 p.m. Eastern time. So we'll be live plenty early for that game as well. Do not miss out. Hit that sub button, youtube.com/CowboysTV.